Okay, this is third time lucky for our phonics lesson, so hopefully I get it right this time. Good afternoon, everybody. This is a bonus lesson for you. Mrs. Stevens has already set up an assignment for her phonics group. In year 2, we split into 2 phonics groups. Mrs. Stevens' group, you will have an assignment that she has set you this afternoon. For my group, I'm going to run it a little bit like I do with the maths lessons, and I'm going to share my screen with you in a moment and write on my whiteboard and give you some words to write as well. So Mrs. Stevens' group, if you're watching this, you don't need to do this lesson. You can go and find the assignment that she has set you on your assignments list. But for my phonics group, we will carry on and I will share my screen with you. So hopefully you should be able to see my whiteboard now. And you should recognise this. This is something we do for all of our beginnings of phonics lessons. Mrs. Stevens says, yeah, thumbs up, so let's keep going. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to point to some of these words. All you need to do is to read that word out loud, and then we will talk about why I have put a phonics button underneath some of these letters. There's something rather unusual going on with these phonemes and graphemes. So just start off by reading the words out loud as I point to them. I'm going to go a little bit faster now. Okay, those words say wild, no, child, blind, find, remind, go, and then this one right down the bottom, if you say it in the Queen's English, which we should do if we are sounding out our words, says told. I know in Gloucester we're used to saying told, but in the Queen's English it is told, and we do practice that in phonics as well. So told is this one. The reason we say it like that in this particular lesson is because we need to look carefully at these letters I've put my phonics button on. So all of my words either use the O here or the letter I. And there's something rather unusual going on with those letters. My phonics group, if you think back to Monday, we spoke about this and how sometimes these letters can say their letter names. And we talked about the difference between the letter name and the letter sound. The letters in these words are actually saying their letter names. So if we look at this letter in the word wild, the letter I've put my phonics button under, it says normally the sound I, but in wild it doesn't do that. In wild it is saying its letter name, it's the letter I. And in quite a few of our words, our vowels, and we talked about those on Monday as well, the A, E, I, O and U, those letters can say their letter names in words. And that's what's going on in the word wild and words like told and gold and behold. So that was just a quick reminder of Monday's lesson. That's not what we're going to do in our phonics lesson today. It was just to warm up your phonics brains, because on Monday we also briefly spoke about this letter. Now, think about this letter, because again, we talked about the difference between its letter name and the sound that it makes in words. So just have a think about the difference between those two. This letter normally makes the sound k, and if I write the word cat, you can hear that it's making that hard k sound. But if I write this word, this is the type of money that they use in America. This doesn't say k-e-nt, Kent. Instead, this letter is making an unusual sound. It's making a soft s sound, and we do call it our soft C. So this letter here is making the soft C sound. So this word actually says s-e-nt, cent. That's the type of money that they use in America, a bit like our pennies in Britain. In America, they use. I just noticed that somebody's got their sound on, so can you turn that off, please, so that we don't get the feedback?
Sorry.
Thank you. Okay, so today we're going to practice our soft C. I'm going to tell you some words, and I want you to write those down on your piece of paper or whiteboard if you have it. And then as you do that, I will write the phonics buttons up on my board, and then we'll talk about how that word is actually spelt. So if I read out soft C, and I'm just going to put that right at the top. Soft C. Oh, just about to do that. I'll move my visualizer. There we go. So I don't want to see a letter S today. If you hear that sound, make sure you're using not the S, but the soft C instead.
Pencil.
So let's start off by writing the word acid. Acid. So sound out the word acid. Someone's got their audio on. Can you turn that off, please, so that we don't get feedback? So year 2, my phonics group, can you write the word acid? I'm going to write down the phonics buttons whilst you sound that out. Okay, if we sound out together, I've got my phonics buttons here. We can sound out together. So if you are at home, then sound out with me. I'll do the sounding out here. Acid. Ah. Now, hopefully you didn't write a letter S. It is the letter C we want. It's the soft C we're practicing. So it goes A, S, I, D for the word acid. And that soft C is making the S sound, acid. Okay. Let's try it with the word icy. I'm going to give you some clues on this word because there are, in fact, all 3 of these letters is doing something rather unusual. So my clue is this. The first sound is the letter saying its letter name. So think back to Monday, my phonics group, we talked about letter names and letter sounds. The first letter you will need is the letter saying its letter name in icy. The last sound is a long E sound, but notice it's not a digraph. It is, in fact, a letter, just one letter on its own. So I know we're used to talking about the double E. It is not that one, that's a digraph. Think about the letter that can make an E sound on the ends of words, like in happy and funny. And write the word icy. We've got quite a lot to think about there. In the word icy, the first letter is the letter saying its letter name, so we want the letter I. Now on Monday we spoke about the fact that that does not have to be a capital letter. This is still the letter I, even though it's lowercase. So I, S, with our soft C, and the letter that makes an E sound on the ends of words is quite often a letter Y for the word icy. Icy. Can you now please write the word sell? Sell, not as into sell something and get money. This is the sort of sell that you'd have in a prison where you put a prisoner, or in fact when you look under something with a microscope, you can see the cells that make up all things, in fact. So write the word sell. I'll give you another clue for this letter. All is a double letter at the end for sell. Okay, please write the word sell. I'll just pick up my pen now. This time then, our S is at the beginning. It is still not a letter S. That soft C can come in lots of different places in the word. Here it's at the beginning. S, E, L is that double letter at the end. Sell. Okay, let's do something a little bit more challenging this time. Let's write the word Now, I do believe we had a practice at doing these sorts of words last Tuesday. I remember Mrs. Bouvier thinking I was very mean because it is a really tricky word. So have a go at the word success. I'm going to rub this out here because actually you do need a letter S at the beginning and the end of the word success. So watch carefully and look at my phonics buttons. So at the end and at the beginning, you need a letter S, but the sound that comes in the middle, you do not. So listen really carefully. Success. And I've split it up into two sections on purpose because this sound here can be quite tricky to notice. Success. Have a go. I'll give you a few more moments to do that one. If you need extra time, of course, you can always pause the video. Okay, now I did give you a clue that you needed a letter S at the beginning and a letter S at the end, and it is a double S that goes on the end. So if we sound out the word, k comes next. And I've got a couple of different options. It could be a letter K. It could be a CK. I'm afraid it's not either of those in the word success. It is actually that letter C making a K sound. So remember, it doesn't just make a soft C, it does also make that hard K sound as well. And in the word success, you need it making a hard K sound, and you need it soft S sound. Is the sound that goes in there. Success is written like this. A nice tricky one to come to near the end, because this letter C is making a hard K sound and a soft S sound as well for success. Use that information to write this word. The next word is accent. And again, you'll notice I split that word up into two syllables, accent. So use what you've just learnt with success and write accent. Accent. This bit here is the trickiest bit. So be really careful when you get to that second and third phoneme. The rest of the letters are quite straightforward. If you need more time, pause the video. I'm going to go on and tell you the answers now. So if we sound out the word, we've got a at the beginning, accent. Hopefully you spotted and heard this second sound, ak, and you used the information you had from success just now. It is indeed a letter C in the word accent, making a k sound. So accent is the second part. It's not a letter S. It is in fact our soft C that we are using. So accent. And again, I hope you use the information you learnt from success to get this double C in accent as well. Okay, we've got one last word to finish off with. I'm going to be really picky with this word year two, so think about what you will need. I'll give you a clue at the beginning of this word. The word is December. December. With a digraph at the end. Just checking I've got enough phonics buttons there, I do. So the word is December. Listen carefully because it's not December, it is December. So I'm pronouncing this phoneme really carefully, December. And I did say I was going to be really picky with this first letter, so if you need to pause the video and have more time, then do. For those of you carrying on with me, this letter here, if you started like this, I'm afraid I'm going to say no to that, because December is a proper noun. Therefore, we cannot use a lowercase d. We have to have a capital for December. D, e is the short sound you could hear there. So de, s, here comes our soft C, de, s, e, so we've got de, sem, b, on the end. And it is an ER. We do have others, an IR or a UR. In the word December, it is an ER to finish off our word December. If you need to change that initial letter to a capital, then do. It is important that you have a capital letter on your months. Those are proper nouns. Okay, if you want a bit of extra practice, you can choose any of those words and put them into a silly sentence. We've practiced silly sentences before. They don't need to make much sense, so I could write a sentence that says, December is hot. Of course, it's not. It's a silly sentence. The only rules for my silly sentences are that your words have to be spelt correctly. And as it's a sentence, it has to have punctuation at the beginning and at the end. I've chosen an exclamation mark here because this is a rather unusual random sentence. December is not hot. So I thought it needed an exclamation mark. But you can choose and you can write your own silly sentence with one of the words we've looked at today. My next phonics lesson with you will be on Friday, where we will look at another soft letter that we have in English. But for now, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to sign off and say goodbye. And I'm going to end the meeting so that other people can watch this in their own time. Thank you. Bye.